watching the Pulse on the Joy News channel this afternoon as well. Parliament's Defence and Interior Committee has been handed the responsibility to assess if there's a cause to launch a full-scale parliamentary probe into circumstances that led to the police shooting dead 5 persons in Bortianor in the Gan South municipality of the Greater Accra region. The recent killing brings to at least 15 the number of persons shot by the police in just 18 months. The latest incident in the Bortianor area, which is the Bortianor shooting of suspected land guards, which sparks calls yet again for another independent probe into matters relating to extrajudicial killings. We'll take you to Parliament where MPs have been discussing the matter this afternoon. But before then, there's a report that's been filed by my colleague Pakwesi Shandoff, who's visited the area and now reports.
A visit to the Akwasa Hill near Tuba in the Gesouth municipality of the Greater Accra region, where 5 persons suspected to be landguards were shot by the police on Saturday, showed what looked like a ghosted town. According to the residents, they are currently living in fear due to the violent incident. As a result, they refused to speak on camera. But we caught up with the owner of the farmland where the incident reportedly happened. In his account, he noted that he was absent at the time of the incident, but could have been dead if he were available. According to him, he is presently living in fear with his family, adding that the farm is his only source of livelihood, which has now become a reference point of the said violence. Speaking to the news team, he further indicated that the men who were killed were not land guards, as had been reported by the police, but are part of the traditional outfits in the area known in the local Gan dialect as Asafuacheme.
Mi de chepo egbaina egbaina wa ke na kanieba ye mukompo ne lepo ebe ametepo le ho efita na egbu we na kanjini ane tonko be mi de chere ke ye bie potidane ne ba ko no le bi ne ekwe ma wie ka jai se ibe le ne ma nyima wie pe ne mi hu ye bie oh you starting hu ye bie 1997. I mean, who are beer?
When you be in 1997.
Who are beer?
No, na kind.
David.
She be an handle, she be,
we should be danger. Should be.
She's still Nibo Poy or Biene.
Me penny me who are beer. Me penny me who are beer.
Okay, well, me know your Nabi, you know your Camo can have police.
He live in for my way. I get be some more everything. What is some of everything? Everything. My family should be. Depending on my last, I can hear. Akwe kuna you kuna can hear cook happy that. Kajina can one few and one few down in 1 year. Like no kuna. Oma Belina ka agbemi e hekwe. Bile ibani gbokwe. Beka. Inga ke bi homo ba na won ba kwa mokobe. Ejino kuna egbaina wa. Sani few ne ma yue ne.
The entire neighborhood now looks clouded in fear, quietness and terror, with no signs of regular human activities. The residents say they want nothing but the truth established in order to allay their fears and put their hearts to rest. For Joy News, Pakwesi Shandoff.
Okay, then, and we understand that this has been triggering a number of conversations in Parliament today. Let's get more from our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent, Kweku Asante, who's joining us with more on this. Kweku, I understand that the Defence and Interior Committee is very worried about the spate of extrajudicial killings here in the country, and it's starting off because of the latest incident within the Bortianor area. What's the consideration of the committee?
Indeed, this matter has come up strongly on the floor of Parliament today. It was first triggered with a statement made by the Member of Parliament for that area, the Honourable Sylvester Tete, who himself is actually corroborating what the man in the insert we just played just said, that the persons who allegedly the police shot and claims were land guards were actually not land guards. So the Member of Parliament have been making that consideration on the floor of the House today. And I've been asking MPs and Parliament to probe into the matter to really bring this matter to finality. And blessed, I must say that within the last 1 year, this is about the 5th time Members of Parliament have had to make statements about so-called extrajudicial killings by the police in their constituencies with claims that either these persons were armed robbers or some miscreants. The Member of Parliament clearly disagrees with the police assessment of that situation and had been asking Parliament to consider probing this matter. Indeed, we've also heard from James Agaga, who is the ranking member on the Defense and Interior Committee, who's also very concerned that it seems as though it's only the police who have this information, that the police will simply march such persons, kill them, and then claim either they were armed robbers or they were persons fermenting trouble. And that in a particular instance of this, there are no real witnesses to corroborate the claims of the police that these persons who have been killed were actually were land guards or miscreants or persons fermenting trouble within the area. So the debate went on largely, but both sides did agree that Parliament have to look into this matter. And so the Speaker has referred this latest police killing to the Defense and Interior Committee, as well as the Parliamentary Committee on Parliamentary Affairs, Legal Affairs and Constitutional Matters, to look into these matters and report to the House.
Are the concerns just about the numbers, or there's more to it?
Well, the real bone of contention of MPs, and indeed the statement that were delivered today on the floor, is that it appears the police pounces on such persons and then just kills them, and then comes back to say that these persons were either armed robbers or whatever, and that the police story do not really add up. That is the kind of concerns that MPs have shared. We also heard from the MP for Ibuakwa South, Samuel Atachia, who actually said that parliamentary committees can actually take up some of these matters and investigate on their own without having to come up to the floor to get the referral of Parliament. So the bone of contention, the real meat of the MP's concerns are that the police's story do not seem to add up. They have been referencing the recent matter in Asawase, where police killed about 7 people and said that they were armed robbers. An independent inquiry actually established that those persons were not actually armed robbers, and the police had just undertaken an extrajudicial exercise of killing these persons. Although there had been concerns and there had been recommendations to compensate these families, the lives lost of these families members is way more than the compensation that the state will have to give to these persons. And so MPs are concerned seriously that the police must have a certain standard operating procedure to be working on this and not be killing persons and be coming back. The last concern that should come up is that there must be an independent police ombudsman of a sort who will be investigating these claims so that even every now and then Parliament does not have to go in to consider a probe.
When is the committee expected to report back to the Speaker?
So specific timelines have not been given, but given the urgency of this matter, we expect that the committee is going to meet as soon as tomorrow to firm out modalities in terms of how this probe is going to be undertaken and which persons they are going to call as witnesses. We expect that the committee will visit the area as soon as this week or early next week to ascertain firsthand what exactly might have happened in terms of what exactly they are going to do. But we expect that a report should come before Parliament will go on break at the end of July.
Thanks for giving us that update. Quick question to my colleague joining us from Parliament, where, of course, deliberations are ongoing about extrajudicial killings. Having learnt of this latest report that my colleague Vakwesi Shandov has just told us about, the Bortianor shooting incident. So let's hear from Richard Komado. He's a security and, of course, fraud analyst joining us on this matter. And each time this comes up, the police perspective or story is deemed to be sacrosanct. Well, we don't challenge it, and it goes mostly unpunished simply because this is the police. They can't lie. Can they?
No, I think that line of the police is becoming one or too many. And I can understand the nature of land guards and their activities as a threat to national security. But the police have been found many times to be carelessly killing people or in the name of law enforcement. And we can't have people to enforce the law who now become killers of our brethren and our family. And we can't do anything about it. I have lived in Bortianor many years. I have families there. I was there to see the place. And I think I can understand the fear of the man who spoke, even though I don't know him in person. But you can understand what they are going through. It took them by surprise. And I was so disappointed once again of the activities of the police in this particular issue.
What more could the Parliamentary Committee on Defence and Interior do, given the fact that this would be about the police? They were on the grounds giving the command, by the way. You're probing an institution that sent out its own men. They'll shield them, definitely.
I would have loved an independent lawyer who sue the police, or Parliament to establish what we call crime and justice, committee, which will work directly with independent consultants in the security risk assessment environment. The police have watered so many things under the ground, and even though I believe this committee have the capacity and they are capable of investigating some of these things, I think we are sweeping too many of them under the carpet, and it's not looking too well. The police cannot be killing people and getting away with it. It is unfortunate, and it is not too necessary at all. Their lines do not add up. And for once, somebody would need to say to their face that what they are doing is criminal, and it got to stop at some other point in time.
And this particular area in question, the Bortianor community, you're very conversant with the area.
Definitely.
But the issue of land guard and their activities cannot be overlooked within that enclave. Okay,
so there are three things involved. You see, the police established, considering the nature and the terrorizing nature of activities of land guards, the police in their wisdom established the anti-land guard department at the police operations department at the CID, and they also established the counterintelligence or the counter-terrorism department. These two departments work hand in hand. Anti-Luke used to be the head of the anti-land guard department, and they were doing so well. I have referred several cases to them. These are guys who don't take bribes from people. They work with lawyers, they work with independent people, and they were working so well. All of a sudden, I don't know what happened, until Luke was transferred to Bortianor region. Many of the guys there has been transferred. My understanding is that that department will not be there anymore. And we have all other persons taken in charge of land guards activities. Blessed, ask yourself, which department do these police officers come from? And who gave the instructions? What was the total number of police officers to the ground? What was the danger of these people to the police? When you look at the police pictures and the guns they were displaying, they received from the people who understand guns and the chemistry of guns will understand that something is not adding right. And considering the fact that I have worked with the BNI for many years and I see myself as a law enforcement officer, mostly I speak for the police. So when I have to say things to the contrary, I feel a great deal of pain within my heart. But we are talking about the loss of a life, which is becoming one of too many. I'm just saying that my big brothers and sisters in uniform, let's be a bit more circumspect, let's be protective, and let's do the work of a law enforcement officer, taking the safety as a priority of this state and not to be killing the people.
And the feeling is, each time the conversation comes up, it's as though we are not mindful that these servicemen also have their lives to protect.
That is why we signed on to law enforcement. And I had many journalists ask me that. I said, today you are speaking to me as a consultant, a national asset. Blessed, I have slept in Awodome Cemetery for years. Blessed, there were many times when guns were pointed to my head. Blessed, when Yana died and I was sent to Wa, I was sent to Yendi, my senior officer was on a motorbike. He was shot dead. We have signed on onto death, and death is part of the work we do. We cannot be claiming our safety and just be shooting people and killing them. Look at your reporter saying that the man has been farming on that land since 1997. This is a farming land. Who even owns this land? Who sold the land to who? And who is bodyguarding this land as a land guard? Please, our training and our operations goes beyond our personal protection. That is why we sign on as law enforcement officers. And even those in the Secret Service, you'll be surprised to know that we sign on to a code that says that we do not exist. Our families can't even have us again, whether we are in or we are out. I can understand the risk nature of the job we do, but we cannot be said to be the one killing the people when the people entrust their lives onto it. And the state is counting on it to protect the people and not to be killing them. I would agree with everybody who says that this particular one will need to be investigated. Because, brother, you know why? Not punishable of offenses rationalizes bad behavior and promotes antisocial tendencies, whether within the secret service agencies or the security agencies in general or in the public. And do we have the moral right to tell the civilians to behave right when we go with a gun in our hands to kill them? It's unfortunate, and I'm not too happy with this particular one. My people are involved, and we should stop that and just do what is right.
The feeling is that once we go into the parliamentary session, where likely we're to see the Interior and Defense Committee probe this matter, it may become political. How about saving the country and having the Ghana Police Service itself account to the people on what may have transpired?
I agree. Definitely agree. And once politics comes in, NDC, MPP, it will take political lines, and the truth will never come out. That is what I would have been happy if, private legal practitioners could sue the police in this particular case. In the case of George Floyd in the U.S., which we have been referring to in many of these cases, it was independent lawyers who sued the police department. And I think that independent people who will not be so emotional and who will not be partisan should get involved, and let's probe into this case. Other than that, once politics comes in, it will mess up the system. Then again, the police have been advocating that let's have due diligence unit within the police department or within the law enforcement sector. The due diligence department could have done this. They could have done it so simply to say that we err at this point. It could be training. It could be new people. It could be the department will put the people from. It could be lack of understanding and clarity of purpose in the field. It could be something that has gone wrong, and we could purge ourselves and issue a statement. Then those who found foul of the law, some corrections could be done. But we are silent on it. We don't want to establish those departments, and we just carried it on as law enforcement as usual. We are becoming unproductive, and I think we can do far better than this.
What's your expectation from the IGP?
I know Dan Parry so well. I know his leadership is by front leading. I don't know whether he's aware of this particular assignment, and I don't know whether he has heard about it and the backlash is bringing into the whole place. I think he needs to do what is right, like he has done over the years. I know he is good at interdicting people, but let this one go beyond interdicting the officers in charge, and let it be that he has taken charge and the right thing is done. Let's see some level of, reprimanding, and let's see some level of sitting down with the families involved and allay their fears that he's here as IGP and he will do what is right at all times. After all, he's a man of God, and that is why he has been there to be working for the state.
Are you confident that if the police service is to carry out their own audits, this will come up with some candid findings?
I know Dan Parry, if he wants to do it, he will do it, unless he doesn't want to do it. If he wants to do it, he will come forward and he will lead the team. He will lead the charge and said, we have erred on this one. And this particular one, I'm taking personal responsibility because after all, he's the IGP. I know Dan Parry so well. If he wants to do it, he will do it. And I am calling on him personally to take charge of this particular exercise because something has gone wrong and human lives has been lost as carelessness of some of his men in uniform.
And of course, once we're at this, residents may still be in that situation where they're feeling very insecure. What security measures could we be taking to de-escalate tension?
Of course, personal safety and personal security is important for the residents there. It was after I went there that I realized that this might not look like land guard issue, even though land guard issues have been with us all over the country. And what they can do, back to the IGP again, his presence in the area will bring some level of confidence and comfort to the people. He's going to speak to the families involved. He's going to say that we have erred. He's going to say that I'm leading the charge, like he has done in the past in some other cases. It will allay the fears of the people. The parliamentary group get into the area, then people will realize that the state has taken interest in our welfare and they are coming to console with us. And they could, provide some level of comfort. I will be happy to go with psychologists to even talk to the people and to ensure that those who are traumatized could be brought home and we'll come back to where we were before the incident. These are some few things they can do. Then that level of engagement, which I know Dan Paré is good at, it will bring down some level of tension and people will relate with one another, particularly the police who need the general public to be able to fight crime and to win the war against crime in this country.
For the time, that's Richard Kumado, security analyst, joining us in this whole conversation. Thank you. We wait to see what it is that Parliament will say on this matter and what the final decision